Hey there, this is Beth Parrish with Inspired Riding. I'm a remote coach and certified riding instructor. I specialize in helping equestrians find their mojo so they can feel safe, confident, and connected with their horses. In this podcast, I'm going to talk about how important it is to honor your feelings. It's the holiday season right now, which can bring up a variety of emotions to say the least. Our horses don't understand why we might be feeling more stressed than usual. So this is a good reminder to slow down and check in and see how you're feeling. I'm going to share a story of why it's so important to me to honor my feelings and trust my intuition. One morning, I was on my way to work at the barn near Sacramento, California, feeling especially grumpy. As a young horse trainer, I began putting myself in many unsafe situations. I allowed myself to think that my boss, the head trainer, could call all the shots. Even though I was beginning to become fearful of the horses that were recently put on my path. A lot of them were ex-race horses that we were retraining to do jumping. I stubbornly refused to tell her how uncomfortable I was about riding certain ones. I heard a voice inside of me that morning very clearly saying, "You are going to fall off today." My ego decided to ignore the voice, and my grumpy self proceeded to ride one of the greenies. And this is one that I had the misfortune of already taking a tumble or two off of. Sure enough, after about 10 minutes of trotting around in a blasé manner, this youngster spooked dramatically. So much so that when he bucked, he launched me through the air so fast I had no idea what had just happened. And to give you a picture, he was about 17'1", and I'm only 5 feet, so it felt like I was coming down off a 2-story building. As soon as I hit the ground, I felt instant pain. My elbow was shattered and my forearm broken. So the main theme of this story was that my inner true self gave me a huge warning and I ignored it. While in the hospital recovering from surgery, that's all I could really think about. I knew this was going to happen and I didn't do anything to prevent it, such as groundwork, lunging, or just checking in, or maybe not even riding that day. So now, if I get a twinge of pain in my body, I take some deep breaths and ask, what message do I need right now? I love the acronym for pain. Pay attention inside now. So if you're hurting, it's really good to get quiet and ask yourself what's needed. Usually it's pretty simple, but I don't take my chances. Plus, it's more fun to tune in and find out how to get back on the path of least resistance than dealing with whatever issue might come up if you're not listening. So I learned that my grumpiness and anger are clear signals that I need to regroup and find my inner voice again. So, are you one to honor your emotions and your feelings at the barn? Or have you been trained with that term, leave your emotions at the gate? As humans, our emotions can tend to take over our lives. When we're around horses long enough, we can feel how they draw out specific issues which we may not feel comfortable revealing to others. Although it is important to remember that every emotion has a purpose. If you decide to feel into that emotion, rather than stifling it, you honor the fact that you're human. Life happens. Feelings are natural. You can feel them, but not let them take over your actions. You still have control of what you think and do. Horses are like very large magnifying glasses. The idea of faking it until you make it doesn't really apply. They can see right through all that. If you're angry, allow it to be. Find something to do away from your horse, or just sit quietly watching, and perhaps give your horse a hug. If you're scared, don't push yourself. Either take a break or go as slowly as possible. We're here on this earth to have experiences. Our horses can help guide us to new places within our inner and outer planes. Be truthful to your feelings, and you will be a much more rounded, grounded human for your horse. So here's something I love to suggest to people. Tell your horse how you feel, especially if you're angry, sad, or frustrated. If you actually say it out loud, you might be surprised by how your horse relaxes. There's a special essence about horses that craves the feeling of congruence, meaning they want to know that you're expressing on the outside how you're feeling on the inside. If you don't, it's like static. I haven't met a horse that enjoys static. Some other things you can do, if you're feeling a very strong emotion that seems to just come out of the blue at you, breathe and ask, is this mine? Sometimes we take on other people's emotions, especially if you identify yourself as an empath, which many people who ride horses are. Is your horse acting funny around you? Think about what's going on in your life. Switch gears if needed. Do something completely different than your original plan. Don't be afraid to change things up, especially if your horse is trying to tell you something. Listen to your instincts. And then consider how your horse might be feeling as well. Do they need something specific from you? Take a moment to assess what your horse is feeling. Perhaps a spa day is needed. Remember to allow your ego to rest and honor your feelings. It's especially important to note that others around you might have opinions about what you should or shouldn't do. The key is to trust yourself first. I hope some of this has inspired you to really get quiet and listen to what you need to do. And I would love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out on my website, inspiredriding.com. And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/inspiredriding. May the horse be with you, always.